Anthony, you're at a pool house. Are you trying to compete with the Houseman Resort Pool Club and Smokehouse? What's going on?
I'm just chilling by the pool.
I love it. All right, let's get this show started.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey, everybody. Anthony, so great to see you. Where are you, man?
You know what I love about being at the pool house?
What do you love?
The fact that there are employees working and that the hotel seems really busy.
Yeah.
And seeing this beautiful pool, which is one of the best hotel pools I've seen in a very long time. You have the showers, you have this beautiful infinity pool, you have a bar, restaurant very close, you have these beautiful cabanas. I love the fact that the hotel is busy, the employees are getting ready. There is nothing like a hotel guy being in a hotel in the morning watching employees getting things ready for the guests. I just saw somebody cleaning the chairs and cleaning the table. I get excited about that stuff, Glenn.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Where are we, Glenn? Where are we?
We are at the Intercontinental Los Angeles Downtown. What an exciting show we got for you. Anthony, you going to come on over so we can get this thing started proper like?
Well, do you want me to?
Not particularly, but it's okay if you do anyway.
Well, let me show you the view over here first. Let's show the view. I know we only have a few minutes because we have a very, very important
special guest here. We don't want to waste his time.
Look at that.
That's awesome. Look at that view.
All right, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you.
All right, I'm going to pull you out. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching No Vacancy Live. Of course, I am Glenn Houseman. That was Anthony Melchiori. And today we've got a very special guest we're going to be bringing on in just 1 second. But before we get to that, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you guys to check out our good friends over at Eco Tech Waste. You know that they've got those great disposable garbage cans fully made of recyclable materials. They'll help save the environment, but also they help save on labor costs. Look, you're starting to book your conferences and events again. How cool it would be to have these there for you. Tell them No Vacancy sent you. Get a 10% discount, and we'll be ready to go. All right, so bringing in our first guest today, the one and the only, the incredible Elie Maalouf, CEO of IHG Americas. Elie, I'm so excited to have you here with us today.
Also, Mike, Glenn, it's great to see you. Great to be back in person after 16 months.
I know, right? So we're here. We're attending the Alice conference, the first one of Alice since January of 2020. And I'll tell you, Elie, when we were at that event, we had no clue what was in store for us. How are you feeling today on July 26, 2021?
It is an incredible feeling, Glenn. I mean, we're talking 16 months since we were here together, and that was kind of the precipice before COVID. And now we're surging as an industry. We're surging as hoteliers. We're surging as travel around the world. Let's not forget that travel is irrepressible. People did not spend 16 months and wake up after that and say, gee, I really never want to travel again. Instead, they're out there in full force in leisure, and now business travel is returning. Sure, there's some parts of the world where vaccination rates are low and where restrictions are still in place, where things are slow, and we got to recognize that. We got to be patient with that, and we got to help people recover more quickly. But where vaccination rates are high and restrictions are being reduced, we see it here in the United States and in parts of Europe. Travel is resurging. It's great to be back here at Alice to celebrate that.
Yeah, it sure is. Anthony, welcome back. You want to take it away?
Well, first of all, you're in a sports jacket, so it's throwing me off.
I know. Sorry
Second of
about
all,
that. I apologize to everyone out there who's used to me underdressing for these things.
Second of all, when you introduced them, you were like a 5-year-old. Like, yay!
Because it's exciting. It is so exciting. Anthony, I mean, come on. We had the CEO of another major hotel company on my Friday night show last week. Now we have Mr. Elie Maalouf here. How cool is that such great people come on and share information with us to help empower all of our viewers?
It's the reason the show is so powerful, and I truly appreciate your time, sir. So let's tell people real quick about Alice, because we use Alice. You know, when I think of Alice, I think of the sitcom. So tell people what Alice is, because people in the industry may know, but a lot of people don't.
Well, look, Alice, which usually happens in January, by the way.
Right.
Every year in January, where everybody from the East Coast and the coldest parts of the world come here to LA for the beautiful weather.
Oh, it is the best.
It's really one of the two principal tentpole conferences for the lodging industry in North America, probably around the world.
Yep.
And it's where we connect with our owners, connect with the media, connect with our communities, can reconnect as an industry. So we had the positive course since January of 2020. It's great to be back right here in July 2021, and we'll be getting back together in January 2022.
Yeah. So how are you starting to feel right now about the way things are going, the way things are moving? We were talking prior to us going on air about how like there was nobody around for a whole lot of months. It must feel pretty good to you now to feel like the engines are starting up, that your hotel owners out there are finding success again. How are you framing everything? How are you thinking everything as we start to move forward and try to gain control over our businesses again?
Well, Glenn, let's step back for a moment and look at the fundamental drivers of our industry. What were they before COVID? It was growth in GDP around the world, growth in population around the world. GDP growth has resumed, population growth never stopped. And when you get the two together, when you start to get some household wealth building and corporate wealth building, people have an irrepressible desire to travel. And travel has grown consistently over the last 40, 50, 60 years since we've measured it, because GDP continues to grow and population continues to grow. So look, COVID was a severe interruption in this trend, a severe and sad interruption in this trend. In many parts of the world, it's still continuing, and we need to recognize it. But it was not an alteration of the trend of this industry. It was just an interruption. The fundamentals of this industry are still strong. And look, here's a data point. You remember 2 weeks ago when United Airlines announced that massive jet order, like the biggest plane order,
like dozens of them, right?
Dozens, $27 billion worth of new corporate jets. So let's set that aside for a moment. That is a sign that one of the biggest airlines in the world believes that travel is going to return more than before, not just leisure travel, but also business travel.
Right.
So we're not the only ones that are optimistic about the recovery of the industry. I think everybody involved in the travel industry globally is betting on it.
Well, your job is basically ensuring that you're building the brands and you're keeping the owners developing hotels. Where do you see that? Where do you see, we'll know a lot today during the Alice conference, but where do you see the development in the next few years? Is it as strong as it was before the pandemic? What are you seeing in the pipeline? And most of the pipeline is 90% that was in before the pandemic. Is that mostly going forward, or did a lot fall off? I think that's kind of an interesting point.
I think if you're in this industry for the long term, let me give you an example.
Can you just move the mic a little bit closer?
Intercontinental.
There you go. That's
we're
better.
sitting today at the Intercontinental Downtown LA, 73 stories, 900 rooms, 75,000 square feet of meeting space. Just a gorgeous tentpole hotel.
Coolest outdoor rooftop. You guys have to come check it out.
The highest rooftop hotel in the Western Hemisphere, the tallest building west of the Mississippi. But look at Intercontinental's arc in history. This year, we celebrate 75 years of Intercontinental.
Wow, congratulations.
Truly the biggest luxury brand in the world, with 275 hotels open or under development. So, over 75 years, we've built the biggest luxury brand around the world. But then over in limited service.
Right.
This year is Holiday Inn Express's 30th anniversary.
Congratulations.
And we're opening very soon our 3,000th Holiday Inn Express around the world.
Wow.
And we have another 700 hotels under development. So over the arc of time, our brands grow as travel grows, and we grow with our owners. Did it slow down a little bit last year? Of course it did. Right?
Yeah.
People were dealing with survival.
A little bit.
a little bit. People were dealing with survival, whether you're a hotel owner, whether you're a traveling guest, whether you're a corporation. But that phase is passing, and our owners, who are all long-term players, are looking at the future, and we're engaged in serious conversations about growing all of our brands around the world. That's part of what we come to do at Alice.
Well, I'll tell you something, and Glenn knows this, but I'm going to tell you a secret you may not know. And my friend
Tim,
I
don't know, by the way.
and Tim Riley, I don't know if you know Tim Riley, but Tim Riley is a long-term employee of IHG and a good friend of mine. And he knows this because I've actually done some videos for IHG about it. My favorite brand, period, in 10 years of traveling for my TV show, we've stayed in this brand almost exclusively, Holiday Inn Express. It's my favorite brand. When people ask me, what's your favorite brand? And I say that to them, they're like, really? How about a luxury brand? I said, I love the luxury brands. But Holiday Inn Express is, for me, when I traveled, the most perfect. I know you think I'm probably blowing smoke, but it's true. I've never had one complaint.
Right. And it's true, Elie, because he said this on other shows in the past. We can bring up the video.
And I've said it quietly, and I've said it off TV, off radio, off everything. I've said it to everyone. And I've never once had a key not work, a room not clean, a hair on my shower, something in my bed. Never once. I go to your competitors, and once in a while there's a problem. Never once. And my team knew that when I traveled, if we don't stay at Holiday Inn Express, I want to know why, and I have to check the reviews. When we stay at Holiday Inn Express, I never ever check the reviews. It's just fine.
Hearing that is like the most fulfilling thing for somebody in her company. I know
Yeah.
Jen Gribble's coming on after this.
Yep.
Like for Jen, this is the most fulfilling. She can pack up and go home after this.
You know what? And you know what? It's true. And it's coming from a guy who has OCD and has been doing this for 35 years. I've been running hotels for 35 years. I notice everything. I cannot walk into a parking lot. I start looking at the hotel as I walk into the parking lot. I look at the lighting. I look at the parking spots. I look at everything. I look at the signage. I look at the bell carts. Are they clean? Everything. I've never once had a concern about Holiday Inn Express, and it's true. And I told Tim Riley, when am I going to be the face of Holiday Inn Express?
And that's our job, Anthony, in every hotel.
Right.
We have 6,000 hotels around the
It's
world.
true.
We have another 1,800 under development, thanks to the trust that our owners and guests put into our brands and put into IHG. All of our brands aspire to do that. Holiday Inn celebrates 70 years next year.
Wow.
I mean, it is really a remarkable journey for Holiday Inn. Our new brands, Avid is opening its 40th hotel as we speak.
Incredible.
Voco has over 50 open and under development.
Are you serious?
Atwell
Oh,
Suites,
wow.
Atwell Suites, it has over 21 under development. So our heritage brands, Intercontinental, Holiday Inn, Holiday Inn Express, have grown to world
Yeah.
prominence. But our new brands have great pace. Last year was a bit of a slowdown. We're back on it together.
And,
Like I said, a bit of a.
And not only did I do the Nickelodeon, I was president of Nickelodeon, but I was that was a Holiday Inn, but it was also the first Staybridge Suites in Times Square. It was my first hotel.
And look, that Holiday Inn, that was a Nickelodeon. It's under a significant redevelopment right now. We just approved that transaction.
Oh, cool.
So you're going to have a great place to go in Florida again for you and your
Is it
family.
still going to be a family suite kind of environment?
Oh, absolutely. It's a family place. It's a family
And-
place.
and-
Look, I
and-
mean, the fundamental thing
Yeah.
is our travelers, business and leisure, have an inherent need and desire to travel. I've been on probably 13, 14 flights the
Right.
last 15 days, flight segments.
Wow.
I flew to New York. I flew to Atlanta. I flew to Montana. A few weeks ago, actually, I flew to Rome, Italy, and back.
Nice.
Every flight was full, some oversold.
Yes.
And yes, you have a lot of leisure out there, but actually, some guys like me, pulling a black bag and going to business meetings. So business travelers are
Right.
getting back on the road. And yes, we still have quite a bit to do to get over completely from COVID and to raise the levels of vaccination and lift all the restrictions. But we're on the recovery, and these flights that I took were all full. We get to our hotels are real busy. We're 80% on the weekend here.
Amazing.
At the Intercontinental Downtown.
How was Rome?
Look, I grew up in Rome and I have a real.
Did you?
Yeah, I grew up for 11 years. My parents lived there for 23 years.
Wow.
And I spoke Italian before I spoke English.
That's amazing.
I love the place. The whole idea was if I could get my family there, take a test before, take a test on arrival. If I get my family to Rome, we'd have a great time. We absolutely did. It's a bit slower than here because they haven't lifted all
Right.
the international travel restrictions
Yeah, but Rome's usually a little slower than.
in a very good way. Look, one of the things that we're doing at IHG and at the HLA and at the USDA is working hard to lift international travel restrictions across countries.
Right.
Many European countries have high vaccination rates. We have a high vaccination rate. We should be able to safely figure out a way to reciprocate. Europeans are letting Americans in with a negative COVID test and vaccination. We should be able to reciprocate. So we're working with the administration. Part of what I do is work as chair of the CEO Roundtable at the United States Travel Association to drive that momentum forward where we can safely reopen our borders to international travelers.
Yeah, and that is going to be absolutely the key. But I love, Elie, what you were saying about how busy the airplanes are. And of course, numbers are still down. But that business traveler thing is absolutely right. People are like, business travel is never going to come back. Everyone's going to Zoom forever. Anthony and I have been saying, no. We're seeing evidence in that. Just yesterday when I was flying out, I was on a 767-400, massive twin-engine plane. Twin aisle plane there were 34 Delta One seats in the cabin, and I was number 8 of 30 to get upgraded for that, where just a couple of months ago, I was getting upgraded all the time. So a lot of frequent flyers are coming back in mass right now. And I think you're going to see a big change.
And you start traveling a lot when, being travelers, we're always on the road. When you're in a plane and you're delayed an hour and a half, and I'm never delayed, but yesterday we were delayed about an hour and a half. And I had my headphones on. I had no idea. I was so busy working and doing everything I did. And they're like, okay, sorry for the delay, an hour and a half. I look at my phone and go, oh, I didn't even know. I was on the plane for an hour and a half. That's when you know you've traveled too much.
We learned a lot about how to do many things virtually
Right.
over the last 16 months. And I think we're going to keep doing some of those.
Some of it.
There's no question. I mean, I used to know only one virtual platform before COVID.
Right.
Now I know 6. Well, no is an overstatement, but I can use 6 different virtual platforms. And yet, yesterday, I'll tell you, we were having an HLA executive committee meeting at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on a
Right.
Sunday. A dozen of us in the room, 1 or 2 virtual. And the number of times where the sound wasn't working properly and things weren't coming through properly and the people remotely weren't communicating with us the way we want. I mean, hybrid meetings are tough. We're going to do some hybrid meetings,
Right.
but they're tough. When you really want to get things done with your customers, with your teams, with your plants, with your facilities, with your hotels, you're going to have to go in person. And
Well,
that's why we
well-
see people on planes.
Well, look, we've been doing this virtually for over a year. Now we're still doing it like this, but we're right next to each other.
I know.
Can I look? You can see my hand.
Yeah, which is always a little weird that we're like not looking at each other, but we're
Right, but
next to each other.
but it feels. So, if I can ask you a quick question about corporate offices, you know, you run a very big company. There's a lot of moving parts at the executive level at the corporate office. What does that look like come September for your company, and what do you think the future holds for what the corporate office looks like?
First thing I'll tell you is the idea that we can be at our best working remotely or from home continuously. I don't believe it, and I don't think it's possible. But when you think about it fundamentally, all the business we do, all the interactions we do, our business in hotels happens live, physically, on property.
Right.
Ultimately, if people don't travel, stay in hotels, sleep, eat, and drink, celebrate, meet, we don't have a business. So everything that actually IHG does, ultimately, that earns our revenue for us and for owners, happens physically on property. That's why, from the beginning of the pandemic, like starting March of last year,
Right.
I'd go work in one of our hotels once or twice a day, just to stay close to the teams,
That's cool.
close to the business, see what's happening, use our facilities. Now, when we go back to our offices, which is right after Labor Day, we're going to be more flexible. People are going to be able to work a little more from home. We're going to have a little bit of hybrid working, but we're going to come back together too, physically in the office.
Good.
Being together can be more efficient. You make decisions more quickly. You interact more quickly. Email is useful, but it has its limits. We've seen the power of virtual work over the last 16 months. We've also seen the limits of virtual work. I don't know how you develop people. You recruit them, you grow them, you interact with them,
Right.
only virtually.
But on the other side, it gives them an opportunity to theoretically have more of that work-life balance, and therefore perhaps being able to dedicate more mental resources to being awesome at their jobs as well. So you got to find that balance in order to maximize it without losing the opportunities of people in person, right?
Absolutely. You may come in the morning for a little bit, then leave early afternoon to pick up your kids, take them to a sports game, reconnect with your team in the evening virtually, get some projects done. It doesn't have to be a rigid schedule.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be straight 5. You're already working from the road anyway before COVID. So that flexibility was already inherent to our business. We're going to extend it a little bit. We're not going to go 100% virtual.
Yeah, but I think it's really important that there is that flexibility, because I'm hearing from executives across all brands that when they're being forced to go to the office, you know, every day, you can see it in their eyes. They're like, I just want more flexibility. And I really believe, listen, we're adults, right? I have a job to do. One of the things I talk about in my keynote speeches is if I ask you for a report on a Monday and you may have to work all weekend and you have a kid's baseball game, I don't care about the kid's baseball game. I care about my report. But if you miss the kid's baseball game, I'm going to fire you, because your job is to make that your number one priority. My number one priority is to get that report. But my number one priority is also to make sure you're happy. So your job as an executive, as a manager, is to make sure your family comes first, make sure you go to that baseball game, make sure you're fully there. And then if you have to work on a Sunday night in the office, or you have to work a little overtime on a Sunday night, which I've done many, many times, and most people do, you get the report on Monday. Unless you say, hey, can I get the report on Tuesday because I have a kid's baseball game? No problem. If you have flexibility, but you still have to do both. You still have to, you know, when I was reading Jack Welch's book, it said, I'm not in charge of your work-life balance. You're in charge of it. And that set me free. I was actually at Nickelodeon as the vice president of operations when I was there. That I gave it to everybody. It's like it set me free. So by giving that flexibility, it gives me the ability to be at my kid's baseball game and also get you the report. But
Right.
leave it to me. Don't tell me I have to travel 5 hours and commute when I know I can kind of be more
One
flexible.
of
and
our
still
top
get done.
executives reached out to me yesterday. She was supposed to be here. Her son got ill. She's staying home with her son, which is the right decision to make. Even more important than a baseball game.
Sure.
She's going to connect with us and with some of our meetings virtually. That's the right thing to do. We also have to make sure that the virtual work doesn't really expand to where you never have any free time.
Right, absolutely.
That was one of the scary things of virtual. It never stopped. Work followed you everywhere you went. So we need to be able to draw those boundaries for people, whether they're working in the office or working virtually. But actually, I think this is a great opportunity for our industry. As people work more virtually, more remotely, and more in a hybrid format, where do they need to go to connect with their teams?
That's right.
Where do they need to go to celebrate things? As they shrink their office footprint and re-outsource the things that they've insourced, meeting space, fitness, food and beverage, convention facilities, we as hotels have a great opportunity to bring them back to us where that's where they can reconnect with.
And they become more entrepreneurial. I know one of the things that kind of was suffocating for me is I didn't feel when I was in that structure being a general manager, I didn't feel like I had a lot of entrepreneurial opportunities. And I don't mean entrepreneurial opportunities outside the company. I just mean being more flexible and being
That mindset.
feeling like I'm more in charge of me as opposed to, listen, when I was growing up in this industry, if you had a break for 30 minutes and you were 1 minute later, it's like, why aren't you sitting in that chair making sales calls? I was that guy. And now it's completely changed. And I've learned that you give people the opportunity and they'll surprise you in a good way.
Our younger teams in particular, all of us, people have many more choices today
Right.
than when you were first coming into the business. They have many more choices across many different industries. We have to be flexible. We have to be appealing. We have to have a strong culture.
Right.
We have to have a strong diversity, inclusion, equity culture because young people and our teams are looking for those cultures and looking for those environments where they can thrive. I think hospitality brings a great environment for that. Look, we lost a lot of people from this industry during the crisis. A lot of people left this industry because there wasn't enough work. Hotels closed.
Yep.
They found alternative careers. We have to, and we're working very hard to remain an appealing career track for people. It's a great place to build a business, great place to build a career also.
100%.
Look at yourself, look at myself.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that young people see that in themselves.
All right, so I know that we're running out of time with you because we are at a major investment conference. You have lots of stuff that you have to get to. And again, thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. But one of the things that we talk about on this show is human nature. A lot of people are saying everything's going to change. Everything's going to change. We've been saying consistently, no. What we will see is an acceleration of the trends that were already in place before COVID happening after. Do you agree with that assessment? If so, why? And if not, tell us why we're wrong.
I think you're right. And it's good that I can say that on your show too, right? So I think there are sort of three kinds of businesses out there. There are ones who had structural headwinds already before COVID, right? Structural headwinds, they were being intermediated, they were commoditized, they were losing share and customer preference. For them, COVID accelerated that trend. Like if you were fully store-based and selling commodities, you probably got intermediated by digital retailers.
Right.
Then there were industries who just got interrupted. They had good businesses, but they just got interrupted. And now they're going to pick it back up. Then there were industries that I think get accelerated by COVID. A lot of technology industries got accelerated by COVID, delivery industries. I actually think that hospitality, hotels is an industry that gets accelerated from COVID. After 16 months, people felt how irrepressible, how undeniable their desire, their urge to travel was.
Right.
To go see places, to change context, to meet new people, to explore the near and the far. That, I think people learned is irrepressible. I think businesses learned they can do a lot virtually. There are some fundamental things they can't do virtually. They got to do in person.
And that
we see the return of capital. We see the return of travel to this business. I think actually we come out of COVID in the third category is industries that are proven, that have been strengthened and can accelerate out.
Right. Excellent. That is awesome. All right. Anthony, anything else that you want to say before?
Yeah. You know, one of the things we really suck at is we suck at doing social media, Glenn. So let's do a selfie. Hold on.
Hey.
Look over here. I know you have to go. We're not going to be able to take a selfie. So I just wanted to do that.
So before you go, Elie, I would be remiss if I didn't say how amazing the team here is at the Intercontinental. We have been dealing with we were originally going to do a live show from inside, but then this mask mandate came back and the team has been scrambling both at the corporate level and at the property level. And they've been nothing but incredibly helpful. So thanks to all of them and the great people that you hire to make sure that we can do incredible stuff like this and to make all your guests happy every day.
Look, Glenn, that really means a lot to me and it means a lot to the team. Niles Harris and his team that run this hotel went through a lot like everybody did in the industry. They had to come to work every day even take risks that we did not over virtually.
Right.
But without them, we could have not have survived this crisis in industry and as a company. We could not be coming back and recovering strongly before that. I saw Niles for the first time yesterday after 16 months. He looks the same.
Yep.
He looks even better. A
Nice.
smile on his face. His team is energized, and I'm glad you're feeling it.
So you said something I found interesting, and I think it's so important for executives in your position. You're in the hotel. You've been working out of hotels for a long time. You're going to continue to do that. How much does that help you when you're in the boardroom and you're making a decision? When you're walking through, would be a gym, a pool, a restaurant, a bar, or hotel room. How does that influence your decision making? Have you been influenced where you're like someone saying something? He's like, no, that's not what I'm seeing on the ground. That, I was in the military. So in the military, generals were always on the ground with you, or colonels, they were all right there with you. And that always stood out to me, that they understood what was going on. So when they did make a decision, they made it with my best interest.
Now, look, that's fundamental, Anthony, because we have a very complex business, right? It goes from our corporate, then to the hotel owners, then to the franchisees, then to the staff. So it's multi-layer, and you got to make sure it translates. So yes, one reason that I stay close to property, even through COVID, is to see all these new changes we're making, all these new COVID protocols, all these adjustments. Is it flowing through? Is the guest experiencing? Can the teams implement it productively? If not, hey, let's change it. Let's make it better for you so you can implement it. But I'd say the other thing that I get out of being on property isn't just that sort of boardroom reality, right? You need that boardroom reality versus just a corporate, mentality. But also I get a lot of energy personally. I get energy from being around our teams. I get energy from being in the physical property, from seeing customers, from seeing guests, from seeing activity. It's a hell of a lot better than being on a Zoom call.
Yeah. Can't agree more.
I think that's the way to leave it. Elie Maalouf, thank you so much for giving us your time today. We really appreciate you.
Glenn, Anthony, great to be you guys.
Thank you.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Awesome. So, Anthony, that was really terrific. That was really special.
That was amazing. And look, I can do something I can't do when I'm from home.
Yeah,
Shake his
I know.
hand. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Excellent. We're going to be bringing on Jen Gribble in just a second. Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate it. And she's going to be talking to us all about what's going on at some of the different brands that they have at over at IHG. And here she comes. She's going to be coming in right now. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, good morning.
Great to see you. Sit on down. Take a seat.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're very delighted to have you here. So, boom, there you are. Anthony, I'll take care of that. You just start the interview.
Okay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's good to
Why
be
don't we
here
just
with
move that
people.
water out of there? So, yeah, there you go. So, how's it to be back in the field and be back in the
Exciting to see a lot of colleagues that we haven't had the chance to see for a long time. In real life, feels very different, and it makes you remember why this industry is so fun and why we have such great careers and jobs in the hospitality industry.
You know what I've noticed, the people I'm seeing, that everybody looks healthy. I don't know if they've been working out every day, if everybody's got a Peloton, but people look
Peloton.
vibrant. You got a Peloton, right? You're in Peloton?
I do, yes.
But it seems that everybody's just gearing back. They were home and they took the benefits of home, and it's just really, really good. I'm not a big conference guy. I don't go to a lot of conferences, but
He actively avoids them.
I do. But I was actually really excited to come to this one. I really am, to see everybody back. And like I said, seeing the gentleman that was making sure the pool was ready for the guests this morning, like that literally almost brings a tear to my eye, because I just love that. I love, one, he has a job. Number two, I love that the guest is going to experience that. And number three, the high level of a hotel at this level. There's so many people out there cleaning, that there's so much that goes into making a guest comfortable. And to see that, to go back to my GM roots and my operation roots, to see that, just, I don't know, it's like watching the sunrise to me. It'll never get old watching somebody early in the morning cleaning a pool.
Well, it's definitely really hard to do your job if you're not out visiting hotels to really understand how guests feel, how things are working for our hotel colleagues.
Right.
So it is a really important part of what we do.
Absolutely. What are you doing, Glenn?
I am talking to the producers right now because we're supposed to be showing some pictures, and we didn't do that yet, but we're going to get to that in just 1 second. So don't you all worry about that, producer Dave and producer Suzanne. So Jen, SVP Global Mainstream Brands. What a cool title. For those folks that don't know, what brands are under your stewardship? And then we could get into speaking about them specifically.
So I have what we call our essential brands, which are Holiday Inn Express, Holiday Inn Club Vacations. we have our all suites brands.
Mhm.
So Staybridge Suites, Atwell Suites, a new brand that I'd love to tell you more about.
And we will.
Candlewood Suites. Oh, and our Essentials brand, I also forgot Avid Hotels, and I don't want to do that.
No, you
it's
don't.
a great brand. And then actually Even Hotels falls in my portfolio too. It's a great upscale brand. And it's on the rise, and certainly fits the moment right now of being a brand that's about fitness and wellness. So things that you just mentioned that are so important to people right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I really like about the IHG brands is there's depth to them. Like, again, I was at the Staybridge Suites. We developed the first urban Staybridge Suites, which was in Times Square. And there was a lot of good communication between me and corporate office, and really bringing that kind of suburban kind of product into an urban, and how that kind of lends itself. And it was so, I'm still friends with those people because it was so, and I'm a pretty aggressive guy. So to still be friends with them and to have a good experience tells you something about the IHG, because it was difficult. It was difficult to bring that kind of brand into Times Square and make it feel like that brand, but also make it feel like it belongs in Times Square. And it was such a pleasant experience for me. It really, really was. And I really learned the roots that I was telling Glenn the other day. All my years of experience, IHG made me go back to general manager school.
I remember hearing you say that. Well, I'm so happy you had such a great experience. I feel like things are a lot less difficult if we have great conversations with owners, with hotel colleagues, with guests, because if everything we're solving for really has all of those at the heart of our solutions and decision making, things go so much more smoothly. So that's a big part of my team's job, is to get those perspectives.
I will tell you, with hotel owners I speak to, and we can kind of talk in code, hotel owners and it's like, I'll say, okay, the most rigid brand, and we all say the same brand. The easiest brand to work with, and we all say the same brand, and it's IHG. And I love all my brands, but it's true. Everybody feels you can have a conversation. You don't always go off with just what everybody wants to do. You have to stay the brand, but there's good conversations and everybody grows. And like I said, there's some brands out there that you can talk to your blue in the face and they read a script.
I'm happy to hear that.
All right, so let me jump in and move this a little forward. And for those of you out there who are interested in revving up your sales efforts, check our show from last Tuesday, July 20th, when we had on Tammy Gillis. She's talking about this book, Room to Grow, and how you guys could be more successful at the property level. You can find that book online at gillissales.com. Watch that show. You're going to learn a whole lot.
And you know what? I'm reading that book right now. I read it on the plane, and I'm telling you, it's really, those books kind of bore me sometimes. I read that book. It's like, I'm really learning something. So yeah, I think it's a good book to read.
All right, so let's get some slides. Boom, Avid, baby. This is a beautiful concept, and I'm pretty impressed by how fast it's taken off for you guys.
Yeah, so we launched this brand in 2017. We designed it to meet a need that we saw out there in the industry for a great mid-scale brand. It's limited service, and guests were telling us they just need a brand to get the essentials done exceptionally well. And so this brand is all about that. We want to deliver an incredible night's sleep, a great grab-and-go complimentary breakfast, have seamless technology, and the reviews from guests on Avid are awesome. Guests love this brand. And it's delivering kind of strong performance too, which is really important for owners, obviously, as they invest in this brand. And so we have 40 open. We have a pipeline of 180 plus.
Wow.
And 25 more that are under construction actively. So this brand will keep growing here in the short term. So really exciting.
You said something very interesting. You said doing the essentials extremely well. And really, isn't that the hotel business, right? And then we build on it. Like you do the essentials really well here, but then you build on it. You have a beautiful pool, and you have beautiful cabanas, and you have showers outside by the pool, and you have great restaurants. So you do the essentials really, really well, and you build on it. This brand is what I'm hearing you're saying is, there's not a lot of extras, but what you do need, a good night's sleep, a hot shower, a good breakfast, good service. And a lot of people, when they're building these brands, they forget that. The essentials, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need the basics to live. No matter if you're a 1-star or a 5-star person or hotel brand, we all need the essentials.
Yeah, so when we talk about things like investing extra in sleep, We have great blackout shades so that the rooms are dark. We've really thought about sound reducing elements in the room to make sure you have a quiet night's sleep. We have a premium pillow top mattress and great pillows and linens, so all those things that are so important to sleep. So that's where we've invested. And what the guests also did, though, is tell us where there's some things that they don't need, like space. So
Right.
the room's slightly smaller, which has helped us make that investment in sleep to deliver strong owner returns.
All right, so we're taking a look
for
at
brand.
we're taking a look at the floor plan here, Jen. I think it's really interesting what you say about too much space. It's weird because sometimes when I'm in rooms, if it's too big, it feels awkward. I actually want it to feel like a hug, a little bit more cozy. And there's a fine line between too big and too small, getting the Goldilocks thing just right.
The
So-
bigger
That's
the
a
bigger the
phrase
room,
that-
the more stuff I lose.
Yeah,
That's
right.
a phrase we use a lot. It's
Oh,
just
yeah?
just right. With this brand, we're always trying to get to that sweet spot of like just
Mhm.
right. And so this room has a double queen that's 275 square feet as an example. But Glenn, I wanted to point out something on the last slide. if
Okay,
you
go
don't
back
mind
one,
clicking
because
back.
we need to talk about how this is a dual branded
brand,
hotel.
yes.
Right,
I didn't
know.
want people to miss that.
I didn't want people to miss that either. So it's a dual brand with the Candlewood Suites. And as you folks out there know, dual brands have really taken off in a very serious way. Started 10, 15 years ago, but I'd say in the last 5 years or so, it's really accelerated as people understand that you can have one physical space with shared resources and focus on two different groups of travelers that'll help you create a better optimization for profitability. Jen, am I right? Take it away.
You are right. And so we put together Avid Hotels and Candlewood Suites, which are two different business models. They have two different demand drivers in terms of the guests that they draw. So they're actually great complementary brands that pair very, very well together. And actually, we put these brands together because we heard from the field owners saying, like, it would be great to have a prototype
Right.
that just put these together very consistently. And so that's what we've done. And we've right-sized this particular prototype. So, I just spoke a lot about Avid Hotels, but Candlewood Suites is a great extended stay brand. It's a mid-scale extended stay brand. These are guests that stay a long time at Candlewood. And so they need great guest rooms. And we put it together with Avid Hotels.
And
We've seen a lot
I
of
would imagine during the pandemic, Candlewood really did well. I would imagine if you look at all the brands, Candlewood was probably one of your high performers because of that traveler, whether it be the truck driver driving across country, whatever it is, it's the blue collar worker that needs a really comfortable night's sleep. That's usually working, on the highway or working in construction. And so did that brand do pretty well during the COVID?
Yeah, Candlewood Suites was very resilient. A lot of the people that kept, our communities going were in extended stay brands like Candlewood Suites. And so it was great. It did not have declines in occupancy as much as other brands in more transient segments. So it's been great. And owners love this brand because it has a great labor model.
Yeah.
Because these guests really settle into their rooms. They just get a once a week housekeeping.
So what is
So it's a great model.
the FTEs compared to other types of hotel, of course, full-time employees I'm referring to?
Yeah, so Candlewood Suites has about 10 to 12 FTEs,
Mhm.
which is about half that of more kind of transient brands.
Right.
So lot lower costs,
Right.
so better GOP, which is one of the ways it delivers this great owner return model.
So you're checking in less people, you're checking out less people, you're cleaning less rooms. And I'll say it, you can't, but the guests they don't complain as much as a normal guest because they're busy and they leave early. They get here, they want to eat, and then they go to sleep. And they want, again, to your point, they don't want a lot of noise. They want blackout shades, and they want to be left alone. And they don't want anybody coming in their room. And they come back, and then they say goodbye when they leave. And then on Monday they come back in and they do it again. And it is a great model. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, you're touching on one of the important things is that they care about a few amenities, and those amenities we want to do well, but they don't need a ton of amenities because they are settling into their room. And it's fun to see some of these guests show up at a Candlewood Suite and know they're going to stay there for 30 days. It's not uncommon that they're actually bringing in their video game equipment and other things that make them very comfortable at home into their guest rooms.
Yeah. And what I like about the Staybridge brand was there was this common room that I don't know if you still have it or
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, tell them about the common room because again, you're staying there a week. You want to kind of meet other guests.
Yeah, at Staybridge Suites, a lot of those people are looking for kind of community, a place to be while they are away from home. So they like the residential feel of these extended stay brands, but they also want these places that have that community. So having a big great room is
Right.
a really important part of the experience, as well as having the social at Staybridge, which is where we provide complimentary drinks and some bites so people can socialize and be together.
And that's really important, that everybody can come together and then go to their own spaces. Now, Jen, you here at the Alice Conference are going in a little while to speak on an extended stay panel. What is the messaging you're going to share? What's new that we don't already know that you need to get out today?
I think, we want to talk about just the model and how even in a really difficult point in our industry, it's been so resilient. And I think people thought it was a really interesting category before, but more people are interested in it today than they were before.
That's right.
And so we want to continue to help people understand the category, kind of how does it work, who stays there, why does the return model work the way it does with some of those levers like around FTEs and amenities, et cetera. So we're going to have that conversation today. So I'm excited to help people understand it better.
Jen, it's interesting because the labor crisis that the industry is going through, I mean, already extended stay was moving to the forefront of visibility within the industry on properties we should develop. I think this is going to even elevate it more so for the developers out there looking for some of these solutions.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And I want to be clear because I think this was a category actually that people were interested in before.
For years and years.
Because I think at the end of 2020, actually about almost 25% of the industry pipeline was an extended stay category.
Right.
So it's been big, but I think we're going to see it continue to grow. And I think what we're also seeing happen is that there's actually a need for all suites brand that cater to a slightly smaller length of stay.
Right.
And IHG's just recently launched a brand in this space called Atwell Suites, but we're seeing kind of these hybrid categories start to emerge that put together like a traditional transient with a traditional extended stay.
Hey, first of all, let me compliment you. Great segue into the Atwell. Where are we at right now with that brand for IHG?
Yeah, so we're really excited about our Atwell Suites brand. We launched it in May of 2019 at our owners conference. And since then we have about 21 hotels in the pipeline. We now have 3 that are under construction. We just got one underway last week in Austin, Texas, which is really exciting. But this is a really big category. IHG saw that there was about an $18 billion annual kind of opportunity sitting there in a segment that was growing about 70% over the last couple of years.
Wow.
So there is a need for all suites. And people generally stay there when they're staying a little bit longer. So kind of like the 3 to 6 nights when they want some more space, very different than Avid where they're staying one night and can do a smaller space. So 3 to 6 nights, families stay in here. And so we have great suites designed for that occasion.
Yeah, and that's really important because honestly, we are right now, Jen, we are starting out to do trips to go look at different colleges because I have twin boys that are 17 starting their senior year. And we're at that place where do we get 2 separate rooms? Can we get a suite? How do we figure all that out? So I like the idea of bigger, more spacious accommodations that the whole family could stay together instead of separately.
Mm-hmm. And in this particular category, guests were telling us, we're not actually cooking in our rooms like an extended stay. We're actually still going to go out to eat, but we may come back with some leftovers that we want to snack on later. So we have kind of an expanded wet bar with a kind of countertop refrigerator, sink, microwave. So we do have amenities for them, but it's more for kind of like reheating the leftovers or making some snacks.
And I think new rule, when you're going to look for colleges for your children,
Yes, sir.
we should all stay free because college is expensive.
I know.
So it should be, if you're going to look at a college, you can stay free at our hotel.
All right. So if you guys want to learn a lot more about Atwell Suites, we did a show with Karen Gilbride on that in December 2020. Plus, we were at I believe it was May 5th. I'm just kind of guessing on that when we were at the IHG Design Center. That was an amazing show where we really got a behind the scenes look at how all of these brands come together in the creative.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite shows ever.
Right? It really
Because even as a old hotel guy, I was like so excited because you can literally see everything. I'm a visual guy. You can see everything. And what I loved about it too is when you can also walk into one brand and go, oh, we did that over here. Why are we doing this here? And you can fix those problems quickly. I absolutely was one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, it's a cool place to see the distinctiveness of our brands, but also see where we've made some decisions to have things similar across our mainstream brands because it makes sense to leverage like the IHG scale and buying power,
Right.
and it doesn't need to be different. And so it's really, really fun to look at those model rooms.
So let me do a quick correction. That was May 10th, not May 5th. Thank you,
How
producer
dare
Dave.
you?
I know. At least I got the right month. So Jen, one of the cool things is that you get to run all of these different brands. So how do you make sure that they all retain their individuality that's clear with the consumer, but also create efficiency across all of the brands so they're easy to operate for owners that might have different brands, if that makes sense?
It really is important to make sure that we understand the particular opportunity that's sitting there and who that opportunity is meant for, so the guest, and really getting under the guest, not just the demographics, but really getting to know them as people and understanding, what they need in a hotel experience and why they travel, but also really understanding then what drives the business opportunity from the owner perspective and making sure that we get that model correctly so that it generates positive return. And it's also something that they can operate. So the operating portion is really important. And so my team's always thinking about who is that guest and who is that owner, and putting it all together to create great solutions. That's at the core of our jobs.
Yeah, I guess would it have to be Anthony?
No, I just went off on a tangent as you were talking, and I was just
A
like,
tangent?
how do
That's
we
so
save,
unusual.
and I was saying, how do we save money, and how do we have disposable linens and disposable towels? So when I figure that out, I'll come back to
Oh, well,
I'll come
hey,
back to you.
they're not advertising, but go check out Pure Lin sheets and stuff like that. Eric Eisenberg over there is a really cool dude. I got to try them out. They're not disposable. They're recyclable. It's really cool. You put them on the bed, then you give them back to the company, and then they bring you brand new stuff. How cool is that?
That is really cool, especially if it saves money.
Yeah, it really.
No one talks about how expensive it is to clean sheets and towels, but
Well,
it is one of the most expensive things in the hotel.
Yeah, we got to get that guy Eric on here at some point to really explain how this works, because it's such a cool thing and has a chance to really upend how linens are done. So Jen, that's one of the things you're always thinking about, the new things, different things, how to make things more efficient. I'm curious as to how you're approaching automation now, because we were talking about that labor thing. Automation was already coming into play. We see that accelerating, particularly now because of that labor component. So how are you thinking about it? How are you approaching it for some of the brands that you're thinking of making changes at?
Well, I think first, people are always going to be an important part of our business model in the hospitality industry. I mean, hospitality brings people together, and people are an important part of the service aspect of it.
Absolutely.
But one thing we try to do is to make sure that we are able to make people's roles in the hotel even more simple, so that they can do more.
That's right.
And so we think a lot about that is efficiency. And so, we're doing things like really honing in on online check-in and mobile check-in. Because the guest is expecting it now. They like kind of the efficiency of that, the convenience of it, and then therefore it makes the front desk check-in person's job even easier. So we're looking for ways just to add simplicity into the overall experience, which therefore helps on that labor model.
I love when I check in and I can get a sandwich, a soda, my key, and my wake-up call. Not that I use it, but all there, and one person can do it because everything is so convenient. I love that model. Before COVID, it was happening, and it's happening even more going forward. And I just think it's simple. I hate having to go look for a vending machine.
Yeah.
I think of other examples too. We relaunched a Holiday Inn Express breakfast. I guess it's been about 3 or 4 years ago. But we really looked at the kitchen equipment to make sure it was something that could be easily executed. It had timers, so people didn't have to sit there, and watch the oven. But really, every part of the hotel experience, we can look for those opportunities to simplify.
Yes,
things.
and again, it's just important to underscore the fact that it's all meant to free up employees in order to have more guest-facing time to improve service, while we're moving some of those tasks that are not necessary. I could imagine, I could imagine Anthony vacuums that are electronic, so the housekeeping doesn't have to bend over and do all that hard work. For example.
Well, I will tell you something. I want to do a shout out to all those breakfast warriors that come in at 4:00 in the morning to set up that buffet breakfast. So if you can do anything to have them come in at 5:30 by having more efficient equipment, that'd be great. There's so many times I'm running to the airport early in the morning and I just see them. They're always smiling, and I just look at them and I'm like, what time were you here? Oh, I get up about 3:30 and I get here about 4:30. I'm like, wow, thank you. I truly appreciate it. I love this. This is one of my favorite things I've seen. I know we saw it last time, and I just absolutely love it.
Yeah, but for folks who didn't see it last time, Jen, could you explain how this all works and why it's really efficient for space in the hotel?
Well, hold on. Why don't we just wait for the airplane?
We got a cart that's going by. All right. The reason why the cart's going by is because they want to keep this place in pristine condition.
I thought it was an airplane. That was a cart?
Yeah, it was a cart. But it was the size of a 747, so it's okay. Jen?
This is our good all-around breakfast at Avid Hotels, and it's a grab-and-go experience. And so you can see here there's things like yogurts and hard-boiled eggs and breakfast bars and whole fruit and pastries and bagels. So guests are able to take what they want. We also have a hot food station with some grab-and-go kind of hot sandwiches. We have juices and still and sparkling water with also bean-to-cup coffee. So it's a great breakfast experience. We put it in this round because it really facilitates people kind of moving through it very quickly and seamlessly. And it's also great because this breakfast is picked up off the round during the other part of the day, and it becomes a kind of communal table the rest of the day. So it really helps us use the space most efficiently. And so we get a lot of positive feedback from this, from our guests and our owners who are operating these hotels.
Yeah, and that's so essential because you really want to make the place as appealing as possible for all day parts. And in previous iteration of hotel prototypes, those breakfast rooms are like kind of hidden in another space, and then it was dead space for most of the day. Not a great use of the efficiency of the entire building plan.
That's right. And guests would tell us, like, it doesn't even feel like we should walk back there the rest of the day. When the breakfast is kind of sitting there dead because the lights are dim.
Yeah, right.
So we're better utilizing all the space now.
Right, because it actually creates a point of friction between the guests if they don't feel that they are at home in that space. So great move.
So across all of our brands, we've tried to find ways to conceal the breakfast for other day parts.
Yep.
So, John, what do you anticipate the big question coming out of the conference this week?
I think from an operations standpoint, people are trying to figure out what is the future of housekeeping. So a lot of conversation around that, knowing that labor wages are increasing, there's labor shortages. So I think there'll be a lot of discussion around just hotel operations. That I feel like in conferences past, we actually haven't talked as much about. It's been, definitely growth, which I think we all want to be in the growth mindset. So we'll continue to talk about that. But I feel like that'll be something new and that'll be in this conversation.
Yeah, and to be honest, we can't grow unless we figure that out because it is kind of bringing us a little bit backwards because it's an emergency.
Jen, another major hotel company recently announced that certain brands are not going to be doing daily housekeeping during the stay. Of course, they'll do it, post and pre, all of that kind of stuff. But you can get towels and all of that. Is that starting to inform you on how you may go with certain brands? Because I think right now one of the things that COVID did is hit that great reset button. Nothing is sacrosanct. We can make changes now.
Yeah, no, we're trying to stay really true to we got to understand what the guest needs and we got to make it work for the owner economics and, bringing it together with a solution. So we're staying focused on listening to the guests. We do guest love surveys to get daily feedback on how things are going. And then we hold broader conversations with guests to step away from the hotel experience and have a conversation.
And it's such a difficult formula because you just said owner economics and guests don't care about owner economics. And when you start making decisions that affect owner economics positively, but affects the guests negatively, you lose someone to another brand. So that brand that did that, it could be a good thing and it could work for them. But it could also isolate their guests, especially the leisure guests, because right now we're seeing mostly our guests leisure. And a corporate guy or woman, we're used to, okay, you service, no service, I don't care. Just give me a clean room, leave me alone. But as a leisure guest, when I come back with my family from the pool or the beach or whatever, I want my towels picked up and I want fresh towels. And maybe I want to see my bed, made. I know my kids do. So it's really difficult. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So again, I think it's like you said, you have to go cautiously
because we're challenging some norms that have been the norms in this industry for a really long time.
Right.
So it's also people have expectations, and we don't deliver it. There's friction there. I will also say what's really interesting though about these kind of mainstream travelers is they're really practical and pragmatic. So if I sit in a room with them and we talk about housekeeping, they actually do sometimes flex to well, I can understand why the hotel may not do this because
Right.
they're very just practical, down to earth people. It doesn't mean though that they, don't want to hold on to the things they've always had
Right.
because they're used to it. And
Yeah.
I understand that as a consumer myself.
So it sounds to me like a big portion of your job is just trying to do that Goldilocks thing again, the just right, what works for owners and operators and developers, but what also makes the customers happy so they keep coming back again and again. How do you balance that? It seems pretty challenging because you could be in a situation where everyone likes you or everybody does not.
She goes on a Peloton every day.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it is just great listening. And it's also not being too rigid. Our roles are global, and we want to make sure that we deliver experiences that resonate in all different markets. So we're always thinking about that particular lens on it, too. And even with owners, we understand that not every market is exactly the same, that there are some nuances. So it's also building in flexibility to the models
Right.
where it makes sense to make sure that these propositions are winning.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Anthony, any more questions, sir?
No, thank you so much for always being such a great guest and being so flexible with us. And why does it rain every time I'm in California? Everybody says it never rains here. And I swear to God, I'm not kidding. Every single time I've been here 5 times in, say, the last 2 years, it's rained every single day I've been
It
here.
sounds like Gavin Newsom should get you out here, give you a salary so that way you can get rid of the horrible drought.
Well, next time I come here, I don't think he's going to be around, so I don't think I have anything to worry about.
Well, we'll see about that. Jen, you've earned an amazing, shameless plug. Take it away.
Oh, gosh. I mean, where do I start? No, I mean, I think today I'm talking about extended stay, so I'll dig in there for a minute, but I think it's an incredible model. The last year has shown us how resilient these extended stay brands are, particularly our Staybridge Suites and Candlewood Suites brand. And so if you're interested in understanding more and you're at Alice, come see our panel this afternoon. But otherwise, reach out to me because I'd love to tell you more about where these brands are headed into the future.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here, Jen.
That opportunity.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you again on the show real soon. And I love that we're right next to each other instead of 750 miles away. How awesome is that? Jen Gribble, thank you so much. We'll see you soon. I'm sure we'll see you 1,000 times.
Thank you, Jen.
Have a good one. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Jen, have a good one. Let me say official goodbye to you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you watching. Tomorrow, we'll be back here live. We got Adam Burke of LA Tourism. And then a little bit later on, we got the AHOA board. That might be like a special show that we're just going to pop on, I think, a little bit later than normal. And then on Wednesday, we got a team with we got the team from another major hotel company. All right, Anthony, any final words before we wrap this up?
It's good to see you in person, brother.
Yeah, man, it's always good to see you in person. Remember, hey, why not hire us to do this at your corporate event, your hotels, whatever? We'll bring the fun, we'll bring the love, we'll have a great time together. So remember this, everybody. Oh, nope, I got to do I can't do that segue. I've got to go and do this. Listen to our audio version of our podcast. Listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, wherever you'd like to download your shows. Think about it. If you're at the Alice Conference and you're walking back and forth between your hotel, why not listen to No Vacancy Live and checking in with Anthony Glenn on the way? Check out Anthony Hotels. And I, of course, am at Traveling Glenn. And remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
Be kind to yourself.
see y'all tomorrow.